Dub dub da dub da dub da dub dub. Yes. Oh. Now my dirty they smell like this. Now to throw away am quick. This kind smell fit make man sick. That woman throw away dirty for ground. Me sef go do the same this time around.
Hold up.
See, to do this kind badness by the book, you make sure say person no dey look. And then you drop am nicely. Bros, nothing will happen. Trust me.
See, if you throw away dirty for ground, another person sef throw away dirty. Everybody come begin dey throw away dirty for ground. Everywhere go come dey smell. Gutter go block, road go block, and you wey like to dey dab. Na him say no more dabbing for you be that o. Dab 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 dab. Yes.
Hello and thank you for joining us on News on the Hour from New Frontiers Television. My name is Olajumoke Babalola.
And I am Adebola Adeleke.
And on the lineup this afternoon, UNICEF donates 47 million naira to improve hygiene in Sokoto, 200 billion naira unpaid salaries, federal civil servants threaten indefinite strike. 7 years after, former President Jonathan pays tribute to Yar'Adua. And on business, federal government will employ 47,000 workers to fix roads. Oil price sinks to 5-month low of $48. And finally, on the lineup for foreign, China's C919 jet takes off and lands successfully after maiden flight. Macron stretches lead as French presidential campaign enters final day. U.S. House approves tighter North Korea sanctions.
And on to sports, Schmeichel wants UEFA Champions League back at Leicester. Rashford gives United Europa League edge. Eagles stock at 40.
The news. Former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, has described his former boss and predecessor, the late former President Umaru Yar'Adua, as a great gift to the nation and people of Nigeria. He made the comment today to mark the 7th-year commemoration of Yar'Adua's death. He further described the former president, who died barely 2 years into his administration, as a peacemaker who brought peace to the Niger Delta. The Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has threatened to embark on an indefinite strike to protest the non-payment of their 200 billion naira promotion and salary and debt benefits. The National Executive Council of the ASCSN, which took the decision during its meeting in Abuja on Wednesday, also decided to picket the Ministry of Finance and the Budget Office, which the workers believed were subverting the express directives of the president to release funds to pay several arrears owed them. The decision of the NSC of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria was read to journalists by the Federal Capital Territory Secretary of the Association, Mr. Ojem Henka Isaac. He said the money approved by the National Assembly to pay the arrears was diverted to pay contractors for a known project. The president of the ASCSN, Mr. Bala Kaigama, who also is the president of the Trade Union Congress, told journalists after the meeting that the ASCSN, an affiliate union of the TUC, would collaborate with the NLC to carry out the planned industrial action. The United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has donated 47 million naira to the Sokoto state government to boost sanitation and hygiene. Mr. Mohamed Moyundi, the chief of the field office Sokoto, announced the donation during a sensitization program for traditional leaders and local government council chairmen held today in Sokoto. Moideen said that the money was approved to support the water sanitation and hygiene program in the state. The UNICEF official explained that the donation entailed provision of technical assistance through procurement, contract management, implementation and monitoring of water supply and sanitation infrastructure in rural areas. The Borno Police Command has confirmed the killing of 7 persons after 2 suspected female suicide bombers attacked Mandarari ward in Konduga local government area of the state. Malam Murtala Ibrahim of the Borno Police Command Public Relations Unit confirmed the incident in a statement he issued in Maiduguri. Ibrahim said that the attack took place on Thursday. Security operatives had on Wednesday killed 3 suspected female suicide bombers who attempted to attack a military outpost near Muna Garage in the outskirts of Maiduguri. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll be back with more news. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us at Still News on the Hack, coming to you from New Frontiers Television. And now on to business news. The Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, has said that the federal government will employ 47,000 people to fix federal roads across the country. According to him, the government already has this work, adding that it will collaborate with the National Assembly to implement the idea. Fashola disclosed this at the stakeholders meeting organized by Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria on the state of the country's technical colleges in Abuja on Thursday. The minister will give examples of how vocational and technical education had significantly contributed to the development of Singapore, Canada, and South Africa, amongst others, said Nigeria must shape its educational system to suit the growth of the economy. A global oil benchmark Brent crude struck a 5-month low on Thursday as the United States crude inventories showed a lower than expected decline amid growing compliance with a deal to limit production by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and other products. Brent, against which half of the world's oil is priced, fell by 2.32% to $48.47 per barrel on Thursday, as of 7 p.m. Nigerian time, its lowest level since late November 2016. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate benchmark dipped below $46 per barrel for the first time since late November. The concern over rising global supply and stubbornly high inventories effectively wiped out most of the gains made since OPEC announced its first supply cut in 8 years. The cuts in production resulted in a significant rally in oil prices, with Brent trading as high as $56 per barrel in February. OPEC will again meet in Vienna, Austria on May 25th to decide whether to extend its 6-month production cut through the second half of the year. The Nigerian Capital Market Apex regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has dissolved the board of directors of Ikeja Hotels PLC due to unresolved internal crisis involving some majority shareholders of the company. The move, the commission said, became necessary in order not to allow the warring parties take certain actions that would give them an advantage over one another. The Securities and Exchange Commission, in a report on Thursday, said it hoped to forestall chaos in the organization, stressing that the commission and other distinguished personalities had previously held various meetings with the existing board towards resolving the crisis, but the company continued to be plagued with unhealthy corporate governance practices in this regard to the Code of Corporate Governance for public companies. The interim board, among others, is mandated to oversee the products of a forensic investigation into the affairs of the company. The Senate has accused the Nigerian Customs Service and the Nigerian Port Authority of negligence, leading to the country losing revenue to corrupt practices at the port. The chairman, Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariffs, Senator Hope Uzodimma, while raising a motion at plenary on Thursday, called on the upper legislative chamber to investigate port regulators in the country. He added that the committee discovered that over 30 trillion naira worth of foreign exchange and form of approved Form M made for imports and for which there was no evidence that the goods came into the country had been racketed between 2006 and 2017. The lawmaker prayed that the Senate Committee on Marine Transport be mandated to join the Committee on Custom, Excise and Tariff in the investigation. Finance leaders of Japan, China, and South Korea have agreed to resist all forms of protectionism in the trilateral meeting today, taking a stronger stand than G20 major economies against the protectionist policies advocated by U.S. President Donald Trump. In an attempt to reduce the region's vulnerability to dollar swings, Japan also proposed forming bilateral swap arrangement with Southeast Asian nations that would allow it to provide yen funds in times of financial strife. The finance ministers and central bank governors of the three nations, in a communique issued after their meeting, agreed that trade is one of the most important engines of economic growth and development, which contribute to productivity improvement and job creations. Meanwhile, China has positioned itself as a supporter of free trade in the wake of Trump's call to put America's interests first and pull out of multilateral trade agreement. Japan has taken a more accommodative stand towards Washington's argument that trade must not just be free but fair. We'll go on another break and we'll return with foreign news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with News on the Hour. And on to the foreign scene where we start from South Sudan. The head of the UN mission, David Shearer, has said that unknown assailants attacked a United Nations operating base in northern South Sudan overnight, showing callous disregard for civilians and aid workers. The assault in the town of Lear, which lies in an oil-producing region, was repelled by Ghanaian peacemakers. There were no reported injuries. The assailant's identity was not clear. David Shearer, head of the United Nations mission, said the attack overnight from Wednesday into Thursday was launched from the direction of a nearby government-held town. Scherer, in a statement, called on all parties to the conflict to respect the sanctity of the United Nations premises, adding that they were there to protect and support the people of South Sudan. And in China, the country's homegrown C919 passenger jet took to the skies on its long-delayed maiden flight today, a major step for Beijing as it looks to raise its profile in the global aviation market and boost high-tech manufacturing at home. It landed successfully in Shanghai after an 80-minute maiden flight on Friday, a major step for Beijing as it looks to boost its profile in the global aviation market. The jet is a symbol of China's ambition to muscle into a global jet market estimated to worth $2 trillion over the next 2 decades, as well as Beijing's brother Made in China 2025 plan to spur homemade products from medicines to robots. A centrist French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron extended his lead in the polls over his far-right rival Marine Le Pen today, the final day of a tumultuous election campaign that has turned the country's politics upside down. The election is seen as the most important in France for decades, with two diametrically opposed views of Europe and France's place in the world at stake. The National Front Le Pen will close borders and quit the euro currency, while independent Macron, who has never held elected office, wants closer European cooperation and an open economy. The candidates of France's two mainstream parties were both eliminated in the first round on April 23rd. The Philippines says it will complain to the United Nations after one of its human rights investigators failed to notify the government of a visit to Manila today, which is said was a clear signal she was not interested in an objective view. Agnes Callamard, the UN Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial killings, gave a speech at a policy forum at a university in the country today and said she was not in the Philippines in an official capacity and would not carry out any research. Callamard had been vocal about allegations of systematic summary executions in the Philippines as part of President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs, which has killed thousands of people. She sought to visit last year to investigate the allegations, but said the government's conditions were far from agreeable. North Korea has accused the CIA of plotting with South Korea to assassinate the isolated country's leader, Kim Jong-un, amid soaring tensions in the Flashpoint region. The country made the statements today. The CIA and Seoul's Investigative Intelligence Service have hatched a vicious plot involving unspecified biochemical substances to assassinate the Hermit State's young leader during public ceremonial events in Pyongyang. Brexit Minister David Davis says the European Commission is trying to bully Britain, racketing up the rhetoric before a national election in which the ruling Conservatives are asking voters to back them ahead of rough, tough talks to leave the European Union. British Prime Minister Theresa May on Wednesday accused European politicians and officials of seeking to affect the outcome of the June 8 elections after a German media report published an account of a meeting with EU President Jean-Claude Juncker. Davis insisted that British people would not be bullied, adding that the government would not allow them to be bullied. The comment came after European Council President Donald Tusk said Brexit talks will become impossible if emotions are allowed to run unchecked. And the U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly approved legislation to tighten sanctions on North Korea by targeting its shipping industry and companies to do business with the reclusive state. The vote was 419 against 1. Supporters said the legislation was intended to send a strong message to North Korea amid international concern over the escalation of its nuclear program. The measure would have to be approved by the Senate before it could be sent to the White House for President Donald Trump to sign into law. Although legislation addressing North Korea has been introduced in the Senate, there was no immediate word on when or if the Senate might take up a bill. Any new U.S. sanctions against North Korea would likely affect China, the North's most important trade partner. Delta Airlines have apologized after a couple said they were kicked off an overbooked flight with their two toddlers, as their seats could be given to awaiting passengers. The latest U.S. airlines apologized over incidents on board their flight. Delta Airlines Incorporated in a statement said it was sorry for the unfortunate experience a day after Brian and Brittany Shear posted a video online showing that they were told to leave a flight or be arrested during a dispute over a seat that they had brought for the teenage son. The airline added that it was their goal to always work with customers in an attempt to find solutions to their travel issues. It said it had contacted the couple to refund the travel and provide additional compensation. We'll take a break to allow in for sport news with Adebola Adeleke. Please stay with us.
Now on to sports, starting with the Premier League. Leicester City goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel has enjoyed playing in the Champions League this season and does not think he will have to leave the club to repeat the experience. The Premier League champions reached quarter-finals of the competition at the first attempt, but a disappointing domestic campaign means there will be no continental football for them next season. Schmeichel thinks the club could again qualify for a place among the European elite in future years, but at the moment is focused on finishing as high in the league as possible. Leicester, who were flirting with relegation earlier this season, have clawed back up to 11th in the standings since Craig Shakespeare took charge from Claudio Ranieri in February. Leicester have an opportunity to move into the top half of the league when the host 13th placed Watford on Saturday. To the Europa League, Marcus Rashford's stunning free kick 23 minutes from time put Manchester United on the brink of reaching the Europa League final with a hard-fought 1-0 win at Celta Vigo on Thursday. Celta goalkeeper Sergio Alvarez kept the Spaniards in the tie before halftime with a string of saves to deny Rashford, Henrik Mkhitaryan and Jesse Lingard. However, he was wrong-footed by Rashford's free kick as United took a giant step forward, reaching the final in Stockholm on May 24th. And United manager Jose Mourinho hailed his wonder kid, who has stepped up in the absence of top scorers Zlatan Ibrahimovic due to crucial ligament damage. Rashford's 11th goal of the season was just rewarded for United's superiority as a close-in on not just the prestige of winning the Europa League for the first time, but also the prize of guaranteed Champions League football next season it would bring. Celta have already overcome losing the first leg 1-0 at home on their run to the last four with a 2-0 win at Shakhtar Donetsk in the last 32. But the Galicians need lightning to strike twice at Old Trafford on 11th of May as United look set for their first European final since 2011. And now to the Nigerian Professional Football League. We have the Nigerian Super Eagles remain static in the latest rankings released by the World Football Governing Body, FIFA. On the Super Eagles are still ranked 40th in the world and 5th in Africa with 725.67 rankings points following little activity in the month of April. Egypt, Senegal, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso are the only African national teams better ranked than Nigeria in the latest classification. The Super Eagles will return to competition in June with an African Cup of Nations qualifier against South Africa. And now to Ghana. Ghana remains the 45th best national team in the world. According to the latest FIFA rankings for May, which were released on Thursday, the West African Giants keep the same position they occupied last month and are also 8th on the continent. Just as it was for many nations, the Black Stars were not involved in an international football match during the period in question. Africa's best, Egypt, are followed by Senegal, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, DR Congo, and Tunisia, while Ivory Coast and Morocco come after Ghana in the top 10 rankings. Brazil continues as the best team on the globe with Argentina, Germany, Chile, Colombia, France, Belgium, European champions Portugal, Switzerland, and Spain completing the list of the 10 best national sides. And lastly, still in Ghana, Liberty Professionals look set to announce Michael Osei as new head coach. Osei was an assistant before becoming acting head coach of Ashanti Kotonko, left the Porcupines after the club's new management demoted him to the junior ranks prior to the start of the 2016-2017 season. He has since been linked to several clubs including Ashanti Gold and Mediama SC, but the scientific scorer lads had moved to convince him to head to the Ghanaian capital in a meeting on Tuesday night. Coach Michael Osei had held similar discussions with Mediama in recent weeks and even won the side's recent league game away to the Minas, but close source says he is opting for a future with Liberty. And that concludes the sports news on News on the Hour at 12. Handing back to Jumoke Oladipo.
Thank you very much.